So, hi guys, I'm here with Dale and Brian, and we're at the LOFTT Gallery for the exhibition Reborn. So, I just want to talk to them a bit about why they have this show, what does Reborn need, and just get an understanding from a curator point of view, a gallery, and a point of view about art in Trinidad and Tobago. So, what's Reborn? Why Reborn?
There's a pretty simple reason for that because the gallery was once around and then it had to disappear into thin air pretty much. So opening up the doors again to artists was a rebirth on its own. So it was easy for us to come up with the name Reborn because that's how we felt about the space. And I feel that's how a lot of artists feel now that the pandemic has eased, the restrictions have eased. Access to gallery space was in zero for a long time. Yeah, very difficult. So the work that artists would have done during the pandemic as well would have been things reflective of the psychological strains of the pandemic, like a once in a lifetime event for an artist to still produce work in that time. I thought it would be very interesting to see what they would have come up with.
Okay.
I mean, also to add to the psychological strain that artists went through during the pandemic, there's also a lot of work that reflect, the seeking of relaxation, the seeking of peace, that sort of quiet that everyone experiences. Not just the hardships, but also those moments of
So, when you all proposed the exhibition, was there a theme in mind? Because you mentioned the idea of giving artists an outlet to show the work that they would have done during COVID. So, was there any theme in mind, or were you expecting a certain kind of work?
We're just more interested in seeing the work that people did during the last 2.5 years, like painting, drawing, sketching, sculpting. When you didn't have the access of your contemporaries to talk to or to meet with, and usually inspiration for art or like producing anything comes from your lived experience day to day. And if you're in isolation for such a long time, they would then possibly reflect that isolation. So if you look around the gallery, I'm sure you could find some of that. People may have now that I know each artist very intimately, or at least their work intimately. But it would be interesting to see what they would have done pre-pandemic and what their work looks like. For some, you could easily identify their work. You don't see much change. But for others, there's a lot of pensiveness, a lot of release, a lot of like creative explosions on canvas. Things that may not have naturally come about had there not been a pandemic. So we didn't know what to expect. We just knew that we were willing to accept, a lot of art to fill the walls because the idea was to return to the space. So this was in a heavily curated show. It would be impossible to do that. To pull a single thread into all of these pieces. I mean, you gotta be on some real hard drugs to do that.
So maybe I could ask you a hard question. How did you go about choosing the work? I assume all the work that was submitted wasn't able to make it. So how do you go about choosing the works?
How did we go about choosing the works?
Well, actually, a lot of the work made it into the show. Yeah, there are some that didn't, but in wanting to reflect as many experiences as possible, we
you would say that you're trying to kind of maybe get a diverse experience in the gallery. So it's not necessarily just maybe searching for peace or hardship, but you're trying to get a bit of everything.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, as Dale was saying, with wanting as many
participating artists.
Right, with wanting as many participating artists, and not necessarily having a strict theme in mind. It was easy to accept.
It was easy to accept it, yes. But the thing is, there's the level of creativity and the caliber of the average artist in Trinidad is already up there. So once you give those artists access to platform or a stage or real estate is what I like to say. That's what it is. It's just real estate. But then we manage the real estate in a way that gives access to more and more artists. So this particular exhibit was doing two things. One, it was signaling the relaunch of the gallery, that it was back, because our purpose in 2018 when we opened into 2020 remained the same. And then of course we closed like everyone else did, many places did, pretty much into the ashes. And so it was for us a big moment to signal to all of the artists out there, as well as on the other side of the world, on the other side of the picture, the buyers, that this space is now available once more. The gallery is here with the help and collaboration of many artists, and in particular Brian and then Kuhn Molino, who helped with just kind of pulling things together. So yeah, it wasn't like heavily curated. We weren't particularly thinking of a theme. I think we all felt the same way, that everyone that came in and submitted their work through via email, for instance, some just delivered their work, but everyone was more concerned with just getting their work out there, and that was the purpose.
So people could easily reach out to you now to have future shoots.
Yes, of course. Okay. That's the whole idea behind the space. You know, there's a big open door behind that camera, because is a symbol of the door that we're trying to open to artists, so that finding a space where people could come and view their work in a space that kind of encourages the transactions to be made as well, where rather than just viewing art, you know that this art can be bought, you can take this home. So those are the real points behind why we're here.
Okay, maybe another hard question. So there's a little, I guess, background before the question. And it's to get an understanding from you as a gallery owner that I don't think is shared a lot. But art goes beyond just the transaction of the artist painting, hanging, and someone buying. So when I think about art, there's also critiquing. Would you be open to artists coming and having critiques? Because I think one form of the artist showing their work is having the
contemporaries critique their work.
Yes. So we have the showing of the final product, but what about the process in between? You know, like, so the artist is painting, the artist reached some sort of maybe stumbling block or something they really can't figure out. And for me, when I was in school, I studied architecture. We had critiques almost every week, every other week. And it's something that I really, really miss now. Because I'm painting, or I'm doing these works, I'm making these videos as my art now, but I have to almost beg to get critique from people sometimes. And they kind of dance around the idea of maybe hurting my feelings and telling me, this video is actually bad, you need to do something about it.
Right.
And they'll just tell me, yeah, that's good, great transitions, you know, but I think in fostering a good community of artists, it goes beyond just hanging the work on the wall and someone buying it, but having your contemporaries come in and critique the work, having even people off the street come in and talk about the work. Something that happened when I was filming another video at Think Art with TT is that I walked into the space and I just asked two random girls to talk about the work, and I was amazed how these two girls, one studied art, she didn't actually talk that much, but the other studied music, but she was able to really give a sound critique of the work, and that really shocked me. Just two random girls, they might have been in the gallery, so they have an understanding of art, but even to a layman, how do they feel about the work? You know, it would be good to get critique from them. So would you be open to something like that? Kind of put you on the spot, but...
Well, yeah, I would love to be a fly on the wall here when people are kind of in a corner where they haven't moved from a piece for a while. So I imagine that they're having long conversations about the piece. But if it's a matter of like the artist himself, able to listen in on or just be part of the conversation, of a critical conversation about a piece, for sure. That's where the artist will improve, and that's where people would. I mean, conversation is important. Being able to talk about the work honestly, saying something is weak or strong, or isn't grounded in one thing or the other, or kind of bogus or whatever, or if something that looks very plagiarized or something. You want to be able to have that conversation, and that will only foster development on all sides.
I kind of wonder, I mean, it goes beyond just doing it. I know you have financial implications and stuff like that, but I wonder how the space can be used for something like that. Like if I was painting my work and I really just come to you and say, okay, I'm stuck at this point. I've spoken to some people about it, but can I now invite maybe some of my older heads, some of my contemporaries to come and really hash it out and tell me what they feel strong, what they feel very weak, and we can have a solid critique. And I understand that I'm almost coming to get my feelings hurt. I'm in a place where I want to be very vulnerable. Not that I'm going to, go home and cry about it, but I'm able to really take everything with a grain of salt and use it to better my practice. I think that's something that we kind of lack. I mean, even going back to making these videos, I've already begun to step on people's toes when I say certain things about their work. And I was called sour grapes the other day because of some of the commentary I gave. Even though it was just my honest opinion, I think we lack that interface where someone could really say, hey, the work's not good, and this is my feedback, and you don't cry about it, but take it back to your studio and produce something better. So that's just something for all of us to kind of think about.
No, for sure. I can imagine benefit that an artist would have. Brian, for instance, I guess he could share he has a good friend who's a very accomplished artist as well, and that would be his go-to person for critique. So I mean, as we run the gallery, but I wouldn't say I'm qualified to critique everybody's work. I could probably give pointers or just give my particular take on things, but the process of painting for an artist is a very personal thing. So that's where stepping on the
very
toes,
vulnerable.
Yeah, stepping on their toes, you could either get, they'll cancel you, maybe.
Might get cancelled soon.
Well, that's the beauty about visiting gallery spaces, and that's why people, artists, especially young artists, emerging artists, should get out to galleries, even if they're not participating in the show. In these spaces, naturally, is where those kind of conversations would take place. You would hear, the older heads or established artists giving their very honest opinions,
or collectors, or just like you said, laymen.
Yeah.
So that is happening. That does happen, and we encourage it. You can in this space. That's why we have chairs and tables here. So you don't just view the work and disappear. We want you to have conversations around the work. So that's just another aspect of the business. The field that we're tapping into.
Okay, well, I hope to see that develop a bit more.
Yes.
I'll definitely be around.
We're all for stepping on toes.
Yeah. well, thanks a lot. I mean, Brian, I know you also have a show coming up. Are you going to talk a bit about that as well?
Yes, I have my second solo exhibition. It's called The Solid Shadow.
Okay.
And it launches on the 19th of November at LOFTT Gallery.
Okay, so we'll be here for that one, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for the
much.
conversation, guys. Thanks.